What's going on, everybody? My name is Kody. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about FPV rates. Let's get into it.
You say you don't wanna get in trouble, that you doing fine 'cause you got me. I don't wanna break your little.
So honestly, in my opinion, the best way to find your rates are going into a simulator and actually flying it yourself instead of flying it in real life and possibly hurting your drone. So I have my rates on liftoff right here, and you can see there are center sensitivity, there is max rate, and there is expo. All three for roll, pitch, and yaw. So center sensitivity is basically how sensitive the stick is when it's close to the center. So let's say, for instance, I only go about that far. That would be for the center sensitivity. The max rate is how fast the drone actually does a maneuver, let's say if it rolls or if it pitches and stuff like that. So right now, as you can see, I have it at 500. That basically stands for 500 degrees per second. So if I were to have that at 360 degrees per second, it would make a full 360 degree roll, turn, or yaw in 1 second. And then expo, I'm not fully sure on what expo actually does, but I know it's a combination of all three of those. And as you can see on the graph on the far right there, it's a little S curve. That's what you're looking for. You're wanting all three of those lines to connect into one S curve. So now that we have all of that done and over with, we can actually get into flying in the simulator and tweaking your rates just how you want. All right, now I'm going to show you what it actually looks like with my rates. I have them, just to let you know, at 500 degrees per second. Now, if you go up like this, as you can see, I'm not really doing that far adjustments on the stick, and I'm still getting to where I want to be. Now, this is preferably what I want because I have the DJI FPV and I am a more cinematic type drone pilot, but you can still do a lot of freestyle maneuvers like this. So I could dive up like this, maybe do a little juicy flick right here. I'm gonna come up over here, do a little juicy flick. Still practicing on those, but you get the idea. Like, you can still do a lot of cool maneuvers even with a low rate. Now, I'm going to show you full stick deflection on pitch right here. So that's full stick deflection. Now this is full stick deflection on the roll axis. There you go. See, it's not that fast. It's not absurd, but it's also not fast enough to disorientate me because I'm not really one to get disorientated, but it does happen occasionally if I go too fast, because I was messing around with the rates a little bit earlier, and I don't know, I just really don't like the faster rates. And as you can see, I am doing absolutely perfect. It's all about these fine tweaking adjustments towards the stick. Now, obviously, this is not going to be the exact same as real life, because as I push my throttle up, it's not giving it power until about like right there. So it's not going to be exact, you know, that's just the simulator doing its thing, you know, it's not perfect. So, but as you can see, I can still do flips, you know, perfectly fine. I can still do coordinated turns perfectly fine. Boom, just like that, and we're all set. Alright, so now that I've gotten that stuff taken care of, we can actually go to the park and test it in real life. This is always the fun part. Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay, so I decided to go to my elementary school, or my local elementary school, because I thought there would be a little bit more obstacles for, let's say right there, there's that playground, and there's a couple buildings and trees that I can do some loops and just some stuff over. The only thing is, though, is it's a little bit windy. I'm not sure if guys can hear it, but it's a little bit windy. We'll see how it flies, but I'm going to show you the top down on my controller, and we'll get it all situated. Okay, so while I'm getting everything set up, I kind of want to talk about, should you even change your rates if you are already used to what you have now? I want to say, number one, it is going to be more difficult learning the newer rates because, you know, it's a little bit more sensitive, you know the deal. But I mean, if you're at a really low rates right now and you want to raise them up, I'd say raise them up as soon as possible, because you need to get used to those high rates as soon as possible so you can get better at freestyle, because isn't that what we want for fast rates, right? All right, so now we're gonna start into manual mode. I have my degrees at roughly about 19 to 20 degrees. And start the motors. Now, as you're going to see, I'm gonna be making a lot of fine tweaking adjustments, okay? So in these clips, you'll notice that it is extremely shaky, and that's because it was really that windy. So I only got about 5 minutes of flight, so this is what I got. As you guys can see, I am doing very small tweaking adjustments to do these small and tight turns like this, and I'm going to do like this. Now the wind is dragging me a little bit, so it is a bit difficult. I mean, it is kind of windy today. Probably not the best day to do this, but boom, perfect like that. Look at that, I'm doing a nice little dive, coming in with a little cinematic. Woo! See, like, doesn't that just look really sick? Like, you can do really small tweaking adjustments with only a little bit of rates. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you guys the full stick deflection for number one, the pitch. So I'm gonna get really high right here. Now, that is my stick deflection for my pitch. Now, let me show you guys my stick deflection for my roll. See, it's not that bad. 500 degrees per second is actually perfect for, I mean, honestly, the DJI FPV. So if you guys have a DJI FPV, I'd say use around about 500 to 600. See, I could do this. Woo! See, like, you can still do some freestyle with this. There you go, see? Boom. Flip. And now I'm gonna go back around. See, I'm more of a cinematic drone pilot though, so I love more of like the slower moving, you know, slower acting, but I do still love my my good old freestyle ways, you know. That's about to let us know how to go. Now I'm just gonna come in for a landing, and that should be it for the ride. All right, and that is it for the video. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something, because when I first started FPV with this big old thing, I did not know what those rates were, and I'm very glad that I got to learn and that I'm teaching you guys. So With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.